It's happened before. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraqi oil would be traded in euros, not dollars. Sanctions and an invasion followed. Some say because the Americans were desperate to prevent OPEC from transferring oil trading in all its member countries to the euro.
The UK's gold is kept here in a secure vault somewhere in the depths of the Bank of England. As in most developed countries, there's not enough to go around. But that's not the case in places like Libya and many of the Gulf states. A gold dinar would have given oil-rich African and Middle Eastern countries the power to turn around to their energy-hungry customers and say, sorry, the price has gone up and we want gold. Some say the US and its NATO allies literally couldn't afford to let that happen.
Organization may have been trying to prevent Gaddafi from burying the American buck.
According to some, it's about protecting civilians.
We must not tolerate this regime using military force against its own people.
Others say it's about oil.
The only reason they're interested with Libya is about the oil. You think we'd be in Iraq if the major export there was broccoli?
But some are convinced intervention in Libya is all about currency, specifically Gaddafi's plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth.
It's one of these things that you have to plan almost in secret, because as soon as you say you're going to change over from the dollar to something else, you're going to be targeted. There were two conferences on this, one in 96 and another one in the year 2000, called the World Mataba Conference, organized by Gaddafi. And everybody was interested, and I think most countries in Africa were keen.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold. The UK has double that, but 10 times the population.
If Gaddafi had an intent to try to reprice his oil or whatever else the country was selling in the global markets and accept something else as a currency, or maybe launch a gold dinar currency, any move such as that would certainly not be welcomed by the power elite today who are responsible for controlling the world's central banks. So yes, that would certainly be something that would cause his immediate dismissal and the need for other reasons to be brought forth for removing him from power.
For 4 decades, the Gaddafi regime ruled the Libyan people with an iron fist. Basic human rights were denied, innocent civilians were detained, beaten, and killed, and Libya's wealth was squandered. The enormous potential of the Libyan people was held back, and terror was used as a political weapon. Today, we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end. The last major regime strongholds have fallen. The new government is consolidating the control over the country, and one of the world's longest-serving dictators is no more. 1 year ago, the notion of a free Libya seemed impossible. But then the Libyan people rose up and demanded their rights. And when Gaddafi and his forces started going city to city, town by town, to brutalize men, women, and children, the world refused to stand idly by. Faced with the potential of mass atrocities and a call for help from the Libyan people, the United States and our friends and allies stopped Gaddafi's forces in their tracks. A coalition that included the United States, NATO, and Arab nations persevered through the summer to protect Libyan civilians. And meanwhile, the courageous Libyan people fought for their own future and broke the back of the regime. So this is a momentous day in the history of Libya. The dark shadow of tyranny has been lifted, and with this enormous promise, the Libyan people now have a great responsibility to build an inclusive and tolerant and democratic Libya that stands as the ultimate rebuke to Gaddafi's dictatorship. We look
world tours. 2 of them were sponsored by the Islamic Call Society. And one was partly financed by the nation and another part financed by the Call Society. I've been all over the world because of that man. Wait a minute. I've spoken to heads of state and government in over 53 countries. And I have been honored and respected by them as a head of state. All of the African leaders that I met them because Muammar Gaddafi saw me as that, and when those leaders met in private, I met with them, and I know most of them, and of course most of them know Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. It's a terrible thing for me to hear my brother called all these ugly and filthy names when I cannot recognize him as that. So even though the current and the tide is moving against him, what kind of brother would I be if a man has been that way to me and to us, and when he's in trouble, I refuse to raise my voice in his defense?
The world's stage and its puppets, the true Psyop babies, Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, and Louis Farrakhan. I said the truth don't need no help. It ain't gonna be breaking off bold. Boom! It's all about the private Belgians, the private Rothschilds, the private Federal Reserve banking, tapping into all current systems. And to keep the plummeted U.S. dollar afloat when the U.S. is in trillions of dollars of debt. The same went for Saddam Hussein, who was going to go to the euro. Oh, no. We coming in. We're going to get your people to spread propaganda all over the battlefield to fuck you up. Gaddafi, no. You're going to buy my oil with gold. No more American dollar. That you have invented with your little paper. No, we won't go. Oh, no. We're going to drop propaganda all over your battlefield also, sir, and get our U.S. sheep to bag us coming into your land to fuck you up. All because a dollar bill that we as Americans have been tricked with. Because in actuality, our dollar's supposed to be redeemed in gold. But we have been robbed, blind, and bamboozled. You see what I'm saying? So keep your mind on the real Psyop babies. The world is a show. the writing's on the wall. And when you believe in things you don't understand, such as superstitions and religions, you will continue to suffer in confusion.